Welcome to the team call, everyone. It is July 27th. I know there's going to be some more people tuning in. If you're able to turn your camera on so Whitney can see your beautiful faces, I would love that. Be sure to type any comments or questions in the chat so we can make sure that all your needs are taken care of tonight. And we're so excited about this call. And before we bring Whitney on, we have to recognize our brand new Crystal executive. No surprise at all. You guys all know who she is. She's like featured on every weekly call these days. But Cindy Donaldson, we are so proud of you. Can you unmute for a second?
Thank you.
So just share with everyone, a week ago you were a director. You have 4 consultant rank advancements in less than a week. How did you do it?
You know what? Like I said last week, I met with Susan and John and you. You told me what to do. I literally took a week off from my marketing firm and just buckled down and did it. I talked to a lot of people. I used Teamsy and Penny. And I just made call after call after call after call and reached out to everybody in my network. And it, like you know, you tell me all the time, you plant the seeds and eventually they come together. So I was determined by Monday to be on that leadership team call, the mastermind call. And it was Dave's birthday on Friday. And I talked to Susan in the morning. I'm like, it's getting done today. So, and I just made it happen. I don't know how to explain it other than you just have to do the work and really just believe that you can do it.
What you just said is what a lot of people miss. I just made it happen. I decided I wanted to get it done that day and I just made it happen. And that's what our guest tonight has really done a phenomenal job with. And Cindy, we're so proud of you. You have really inspired.
Thank you.
I mean, not just Susan and John, you've inspired our whole team, and we're so proud of you and just can't wait to see. You've already rank advanced 1 more consultant since you hit executive. So I just can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Thank you. Well, you told me I had to pat it afterwards. So I'm just like, listen, I'm taking your lead and I'm just going for it.
Yeah. So
thank you.
If there's one thing I hope you all get from this, you guys, be coachable. Cindy is so coachable. Susan shared that today when she introduced her to our mastermind group, all of our executives. And she said, you just tell her what to do and she does it. So guys, be coachable. It really works. Cindy, so excited for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so before we bring Whitney on, I'm going to have John introduce her because John Stankiewicz, we're so grateful you reached out to Whitney and invited her to be a guest on our call tonight. And I knew her. We did an opportunity call, I want to say 2 years ago when she was a newer upper and comer, like not quite as successful as she is tonight. And I fell in love with her doing that call with her. And John, we're so grateful you got her to be a guest tonight. So would you like to be able to be the one to introduce her?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, thank you, Whitney, for taking the time to get on and share with everyone tonight. I know a lot of people in this group have been following you and your success, and everyone's really pumped to hear about what you've been doing, really. And I'm going to leave your story for you because I know you have an amazing story and a really inspiring background that you came from. But just so you guys know that you guys aren't familiar with Whitney, we met back I think 2 years ago now at NYKO. We were both top 10 earners. I think at the time you might have been like 9 or 8, Whitney. And since then, you just soared through the ranks. She's gone on to become a #1 income earner under the age of 25. She just hit 5-star Golden Circle, 3-star Crystal Executive. She's in Start 1000. I'm going to lose my voice, all these accomplishments that you have because there's so many of them. At Celebration, she was awarded as the #3 recruiter, the #3 leadership growth team. She was #2 in team growth, and she was #7 leader in action. And she actually just made 6 figures in the past 6 months. So this is someone you want to learn from, and she's going to pour so much value into us. So Whitney, thank you. And we would love for you to start by just sharing your story with everyone to kind of show where you've come from.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, John, we met a couple years ago and we've been friends ever since. So thank you for inviting me on. I love doing calls with other teams. And I did have a BIA unpacking. So I had 2 BIAs and a knee shot today. So I'm wired, ready to go. So my story started in September 2015 is when I first joined Isagenix, the end of September. I joined solely for weight loss. I was doing my business degree at the time, and a couple months prior, I had just had my first baby, and unfortunately, she had passed away at 19 days old. And it was just an extremely emotional and tough time for me. I gained almost 70 pounds in my pregnancy. I could not lose the weight. My sister, when she was pregnant afterwards, the weight melted off her. Was not the case for me at all. And I went down south with my boyfriend, and I just did not, I felt like I was in someone else's body, and I knew that something had to change. And I had a girlfriend over, and I actually heard of Isogenics through word of mouth. I was just complaining about myself at the time, and she was like, why don't you try this crazy shake thing that Jessica's doing? So I literally messaged her, and it wasn't even her transformation that touched me. It was someone else's who went like overweight to bikini competitor. And I was like, I sent her the picture, and I'm like, does this girl do the shake stuff? She said yes. And I'm like, here's my credit card, like sign me up, I need that. I loved the products right away. But I did not want to do the business right away. So I didn't start until probably my first month and a half. And it was just a natural thing. I group chatted my family, my first month transformation. And my mom was like, you're not getting skinny without me. Here's my information. Let's do this. And so I just got excited about it and kept naturally sharing through school. I'd have the shakes with me. People would ask me questions. And then once I first started getting a couple $100s here and there, I was like, okay, now my products are paid. Maybe I could do a little more. What's another bill that's really bothering me right now? At the time, my boyfriend had to pay for everything because I was a broke university student. He was the only one working. We were in like a one-bedroom apartment. So that meant everything to me at the time, just even a couple $100s every few weeks. So I really caught the vision when I went to New York kickoff event, but I just dove right in. As soon as I seen that there was a true opportunity and I started seeing other leaders go first, I was like, yeah, okay, I need to do this. I went executive in a couple months, 1-star, then 2-star. And then I got really comfortable at 2-star for a while. And I got pregnant with my son just a couple months into my journey, which I'm so grateful for. He's now almost 4. And I just thought that my business would run itself once I got to 2-star, right? That's the dream. No, it did not happen. So I started to go down a lot. Once I had my son, I went from cycling 20 times a week to probably 1 to 2 to 3 because I wasn't creating leaders. So as soon as I started to not show up, they didn't show up as well. So I just caught the vision again as soon as I had him and realized if I don't make this work by the time maternity leave's over, I'm going to be in big trouble and I do not want to go back to work. So I literally just hustled. I got to every single event. I've never missed an event. I go to every single team training. I was super coachable. And ever since I started, I've been in the top 10 income earners, but I always hovered around like 6, 7, 8 area. And then this past year, I was number 3. And I was like, no way, this is my last year in this age category and I am just gonna go for it. And luckily when I finished my business degree 2 years into my journey, Matt was really supportive and I just told him, listen, like I need to make this work with Isogenics. I know there's something here. I know there's a big vision. My income I'm making now is basically what I'm gonna be earning and at this job. So just give me a year, let me pour everything into this. And I did for a year and there was ups and downs as there always were, but stick it out because this last year has been the biggest year in my business and I'm almost 5 years in now. And if I would have given up on those highs and lows, which I definitely wanted to many times, I wouldn't be where I am today. And now I created 6 figures in the last 6 months. And before every other year, I never even created it in the 12-month period. I was always a little bit short. So for me, that was like a huge milestone in my business. And even better, I'm actually creating 3-stars and 2-stars and 1-stars. And now I've been doing this full time for almost 3 years now, which has let me to live. I now have 2 babies. I have a 1-year-old and a almost 4-year-old. I get to do this full time in the pockets of my day, which has allowed so much time freedom. It's unbelievable. And I'm from a small town, so if I can do it, you can do it too. So that's basically the most of my story.
That's so awesome. And I remember when I first met you, and I can't remember, I think was it John Raines that did the call with us?
Yeah. Yes.
And you told your story. I was in tears hearing your story for the first time, and watching you grow has been so cool for me because I felt like you were a little baby when I first met you, and now it's like this jump from 3-star to 5-star. I've got some questions for you. So I think what everybody's dying to know is, I think it's already good. I'm seeing comments, you know, hearing that there's highs and lows, and sticking it out and not quitting is absolutely key because we all get discouraged. But what was the shift for you, like that took you from being like, all right, you know, I need 1 year, give me 1 year, knowing that, was it that you only had 1 year to prove yourself, to make the income that you needed to make? What was that shift for you that said, all right, I'm all in, I'm going from 2-star to 5-star, I'm going to make this happen?
Yeah, so for me, it was really, I mean, I gave myself 1 year because I turned down an amazing job that I spent 5 years in university to get. So no one understood it. So I'm just like, please, I didn't even ask. I'm just like, support me. Like, I'm doing it, so just support me, and too bad. But what really made the big shift for me was, first thing is not dragging people. I see the vision for everyone more than they see them for themselves all the time. So when people aren't showing up for themselves, I tend to show up for them anyways. And I'm dragging them and I'm messaging them every day. And I wasn't like really creating those people who are self-sustainable. Like, I wanted to be able to, if I walk away from my business right now and something traumatic happens in my life that I need to step away for, I need to know that all of my personally enrolled people are going to continue growing without me and have all the resources. So my first thing is probably January 2019 is when I really went to New Year kickoff and I was like, okay, I need to make some changes. I need to do this big time. And I actually had a huge, one of my top income earner on my team left me in December of 2018. She left the company. And so which is fine, but January 2019, I was like, okay, this is my moment. I either need to just like quit, which I'm not ready to do, or I need to put my big girl panties on and figure out what I'm going to do right now. I wasn't even paid as executive at New Year kickoff that year. I don't think I was like 1 or 2 consultants short. And I just found my people and ran with them. I stopped dragging people. I casted the vision. I learned about vision casting. That's been huge for me. I vision cast for every single person. I did training on it at Canadian Celebration. That's a big thing to grow my business. I created a lot of systems for our team, or we didn't create, we utilized more systems that Isogenics had created, because I can't duplicate, but systems can. I've always been a high enroller since I started with Isogenics, but that wasn't duplicating. So I couldn't do every single conversation, every single call. I physically could not do that. So I started utilizing Isogenics systems, and instead of having those conversations, and I still do this obviously, is tagging people in systems, sending them videos, or if people have questions for me, I tell them where I got the answer instead of just giving them the answer. I was drowning before trying to maintain like around 10 consultants, because it was, they were like leeches on me, needing everything from me. They weren't able to do anything on their own, right? So now I usually never have less than 30 consultants, and they're all maintaining their own teams except for a couple casual sharers now. But I really just wanted to create leadership systems and vision casts for people and show them what's possible.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I mean, dragging people just doesn't work. And I know so many of us, especially in the beginning when every consultant matters, we just don't want anyone to leave. And the reality is people will come and go, and top leaders like will leave. So we have to be prepared for that. And we have to always have, like with what Cindy Donaldson was saying, a buffer. Like we told her, get a couple extra. Don't just stop when you hit paid as executive. You know, get that buffer, because some will go and they'll come back. People come back. I've had people leave, come back. I've had people re-enroll 5 times. So it absolutely happens. We would love to hear kind of what your process is. It was so funny. John messaged me and said, hey, Whitney said she'd be on the call. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so great. Next thing you know, I see your face showing up in a penny advertisement on Facebook, and Penny had just been announced at Celebration. So share with us, you know, how long have you been using that app? Has that been instrumental for you? What's your process and system, so that maybe you can save us some time, because there's plenty of us that, you know, are, you know, we're just on a hamster on a wheel, spinning and spinning. So how can we be more like you?
More like me. No, you definitely don't need to be like me, but the Penny app is amazing, because so I used it in December. I was one of the first people who started to test it. I would kind of use it on and off. I didn't really take it as seriously at the time, because I didn't know if Isogenics was actually going to utilize it. It was still really new, so they were still taking out so many kinks in it. But what it allowed me to do, and what they asked me to do, was to keep a note on my phone, and anything that I thought would be beneficial to Isogenics, to, I did a call with David, the owner, every couple weeks. And I would go over, okay, you know, maybe you should implement this or implement this. And that's really some stuff that he actually put into action, which is really cool, like the IsaBody and stuff. For me, what I used to do, and I still do this, is every Monday is like, I don't like to do a lot of admin stuff, but every Monday I go through my auto ships for the week. I go through who's like doing IsaBody that week, who's doing group challenges. Like I have my Monday to-do list, and it was like follow-ups, checking with customers. Like I had a big list. And then once I seen this app and realized that it was basically everything I was doing, but it saved me so much time because all the names are right there. And as a high enroller, that was something that was really important to me because it was almost like really hard to keep up with everyone's auto ships. And I definitely didn't want people to have auto ships go through that they didn't know about. And now that you can even see what's in the auto ship, it's really amazing. So we know if it's around 100 BV for people. So honestly, what I do, even this morning, it's just a no-brainer. I just sit there, open my Penny app. Okay, auto ships. Voice note, everyone who has auto ships, follow-ups with people. It's really nice because it allows you to follow up with people on your Facebook that you've probably forgot were there, right? Like there's so many people. And the more people that download Penny, the smarter it gets. So it'll start to catch on like, okay, Cody has Penny app. So he's not a Facebook friend of Whitney's that she should be following up with or reaching out to. So then it'll allow you to really reach out to people who probably got pushed down in your newsfeed. So I utilize it at least twice or 3 times a week, but every single Monday for sure.
And tell us any tips on how you're such a high enroller, because that's, you know, we can't build consultants unless we're enrolling people. So where are you enrolling people from?
So mine, it started off mostly through Facebook. Now it's mostly through Instagram. I have been, my business is probably 99.9% through social media. So connecting in person, getting out there is something I still work on, but with kids and doing school and stuff at the time, it was harder for me to connect in person. So I just was like, okay, so how can I reach the most amount of people with the small amount of time that I have, which was social media. I didn't have a big following at the time. I actually made a brand new Facebook right when my daughter passed away. So I started with a brand new Facebook, didn't have a lot of Instagram followers, nothing like that. So I just focused on connecting with people, just like I trained on in the social media segment at Global Celebration, going and finding those people that I want in my business and bringing value on my Instagram stories and making myself relatable. Like what you see on my stories and the things I post, I am so real, and like I try to be as authentic as I can, so that when people are viewing my videos of me talking or my pictures or sharing funny things about my family, they can either relate to me or they think that they would maybe be friends with me in real life. And then they're going to be way more apt to have a conversation with me instead of someone who looks way too polished, way too perfect. Maybe they might be nervous to reach out to that person. So there's nothing better than literally finding those people, going out, following new people, connecting with them, messaging them about something you can relate to them on. I personally don't cold message people about Isagenix, but I do message people about things that we have in common. So I found someone in Japan. She had a daughter. So I compared her daughter to my daughter and just said, like, how are things going over there? Like just starting conversations of anything you can relate to, whether it's travel. I had nannies on my team. We searched hashtag nanny life, like anything you can find and go connect with those people on. And if you're searching a hashtag that you can relate to someone on, like whether it's traveling, mom life, entrepreneur, then it should be easy to strike up a conversation. It's not going to feel comfortable at first, but that's the joy of network marketing. You have to get out there and network. And then when they come to your page, you want them to feel like it's a safe place for them where they want to be able to connect with you and relate to you, and not something that they just want to like unfollow and like run for the hills from. So honestly, it's just about continuously having those conversations. Share Isagenix. There will never be a day ever that you won't see me sharing something about Isagenix on my Instagram stories. Maybe in my feeds, sometimes I'm not as frequent with it, but I always mix it in about the business and the products, because I never used to have people join me for the business, and I was so shocked. And then I looked at my page and I'm like, well, I'm not posting about a business opportunity. How is anyone going to know there's a way to create income if I'm not actively sharing that? So you definitely need to make sure you're sharing all the wins from your team. Even if you have no direct downline yet, there's definitely people within your guys' massive team that are having wins. Share that. Like, congratulations on hitting executive, Cindy. That's amazing. So sharing that, sharing what she earned. We always like to do that, obviously with disclaimers, but that is huge. Showing people that there's a true opportunity with Isagenix and not that it's just one of those things, right? So honestly, it's just being consistent.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome advice. All right. So how about you're a great enroller, but you also said you have about 30 consultants. That's a lot of consultants. And I know there's people on this team that really want to hit executive. That's their goal. How do you convert your customer, your enrollment to consultant? What steps do you do to do that conversion?
Yeah. Okay. So people who are on the camera right now, can you raise your hand if you were not interested in the business when you started? Okay. A lot of you guys. Yes. So I wasn't either. So I do not, unless they come to me looking for an opportunity, I don't come in hot with it. What I always do is say I just enrolled Tyler. Okay. So now I'm saying, Tyler, I am so excited for you. Your box is on its way. You are going to love it. Something I'm super passionate about with Isagenix is their Eat for Free Club and helping people get their products completely paid for. Does that sound like something that interests you? And I always send voice notes so they can hear my excitement. And most of the time they say yes. Now, they may say yes and do nothing with it, and that's okay too. That happens all of the time. Do not let the ones who don't show up for themselves upset you. Just show up for the ones who are wanting to show up for themselves. So here's a couple things that are going to happen. They may say no. And if they say no, that's okay. Just say, that's totally fine. I'm still here to support you and help you through this journey. So make sure you let me know when your box gets here and I'll do a call with you. Now, once they start to build that friendship with you, then likely they are going to want to continue talking to you about their journey. And then once they have that aha moment where they're loving the products, so Tyler says, Whitney, I am down 10 pounds. I am loving it. And now you say, Tyler, do you see why I'm so passionate about sharing this? Imagine if I wasn't vulnerable and you never seen that post. You would still feel the same way you felt a couple weeks ago. It would have been selfish of me not to help you get those products paid. Now that you see how good they are, can I please show you how we can help other people feel as good as you and help you get paid? And then right there, it's almost like they'll feel selfish not to do it, right? The majority of the time at that moment, they're like, you know what? Okay, let me just share it. I'll just help you. And I just say, I'll help you along the way. Don't worry, I'm not going to throw you to the wolves or anything. I'm just going to walk you through the steps and help you with your journey. The second thing that might happen is they might say, once I see results, same thing. You wait till they see results and you just basically say the same thing. And then the third thing is, yes, I want to get my products paid. So this is where you get them on the call. Right, well, this is what I do. I get them on a call right away. First, I get them to watch the Isagenix Next Entrepreneur video. And I get them to watch a compensation plan of your choosing. I recently switched to a Canadian one because it's more money. So people can see more money in Canadian dollars. So I get them to watch those two videos and I say, please let me know as soon as you watch this, we'll schedule a call within a couple hours or the next day. And I say, does this time day work for you? Okay, great. Now I get them on the call. I go over vision casting. So there's the new member checklist, right? The second page where it goes over, what do you do now? Do you like it? All of those questions I ask people and really get to know them. My top income earner on my team right now who just hit Start 1000, I tricked her on a phone call with me, telling her, because I knew she would be so good at it. And she wanted nothing to do with it. She was a business consultant. And I'm like, oh, your auto ship's coming up. Like, let's jump on a call and I'll go over it with you. And we got on a call and a Zoom call and we realized that we were a lot alike. And I started asking her these questions. So like, how much are you earning now? Like, are you liking it? And then we started to really talk about what she wanted in her future. And I vision casted that. So you want to figure out every detail that someone envisions for themselves. So my question, and Kayla Croft asked me this question when I got started, was if you could design your ideal life, like money was no factor, time was no factor. And I always ask this question after they go over about how much they hate their job and whatever. And I asked them if that was no factor at all, like what would your ideal life look like? And then they're probably puzzled at first because they probably never thought of it, and just say, think about it. Like, would you like to give back more? Would you like to travel? Like, would you want to buy more things? Like, if it's materialistic, that's okay. Like, what would you love to do? And then continue asking those questions, right? Oh, I'd like to travel. Okay, where would you like to travel? Oh, I'd like to go to California. Why California? Ask those questions. And I know that this is basically the Jackson Park cake recipe, but the business version. And they go over this in the start page as well. It's really, really good. Jackson Baum, I think it was, who did it. And I pretty much did the same thing. And so it's really cool that we both did the same thing. But for Jackson Park cake recipe too, for the products, I follow that religiously as well. But then just really vision casting that for them and saying one of two things are going to happen. This is either going to work out for you and you're going to dive into isogenics and you're going to give it all you can and make that dream a reality, or vice versa. You're going to stay exactly where you are and not move forward with isogenics because you're nervous, right? Or whatever they say they don't want to do it for. And then as soon as I do that little piece, I try and keep it pretty quick. Just making it all about them. Sitting back and listening was something that was hard for me because I'm a red and I like to talk. And so I remember I did a call with someone in corporate and he was like, you just need to like listen to other people and just take a minute. Jackson Baum did it. It's he did a search Jackson Park cake recipe by him, business version, and it should pop up. Okay, so then what I like to do is I say, okay, so these are two pens. One is about just getting your products paid, and one is about going all in and making gangster money and really making those dreams a reality. What do you want me to show you? Because I'm about to show you whichever one you want. Never do they really say just getting their products paid. They say, well, why don't you just show me it all? So what you can do with your Zoom is you can share a blank document, like a blueprint, whatever, like a blank thing. You can share it and then they'll see it on their end. And you can actually like do little circles. You can draw out the compensation plan. You can do text. And so that's the easiest way for me to do it. I used to do it on my iPad with my Apple Pen and it just got way too confusing for me trying to like plug it all in. I'm not that tech savvy. So this was a simple way for me to do it. And then I draw it out. I can see their face when I'm doing it. And then as soon as we get off the call, I say, all right, let's go through making your first social media post to get it out there and let's chat with your hot market. Our goal is to get everyone into your hot market. That should always be your goal when you're doing network marketing because hot markets are way more likely to enroll with you. If you don't, your hot market is basically people who you talk to and are pretty close with, which means connecting with people often. So then I just get right to it. And I say, as soon as you have someone interested, let's do a 3-way call with them until you're comfortable having those conversations on your own. And I tag them in the Jackson Park cake recipe and I say, follow along. This is literally what I'm about to do, but I want to show you it in action and that it's actually what I do. So then I get on 3-way calls with them and I help them walk them through it until they're comfortable doing it on their own. And then I just have that listed. I said, have someone interested in the business. Now what? And I just have like 1, 2, 3. Send them this video, get on a call with them, make a post, do a 3-way chat. And then it's just repeating and repeating and repeating. And then to keep them going is I just make sure that they have their next goal in mind right away. So for me, in January 2019, instead of creating consultants, I had become a manager making machine. That was my thing. That was on my board, manager making machine, because managers stay and want to go further. Consultants fall off way quicker. So I always tell people their first goal is crystal manager, right? Yes, we want to get you your first 2 people, but we want to get those people paid. That's where you start really helping people even more, is by helping them get these products paid for. So I always go for a manager right away.
That is great. Golden nuggets, you guys. I'm sure you're taking tons of notes. So fabulous. All right. So what I'd love to do, John, do you have any last questions you'd like to ask before I wrap up?
I think all of that was fantastic, and I love how detailed you got with. That was beautiful.
Great.
And I guess I think the biggest thing is people always want to find like shortcuts or a way around doing the work or a way around dealing with the rejection or a way around feeling uncomfortable. And I would like for you to share maybe just, how you personally, how many hours you put in a day, how many times you get told no, how many conversations you've had to get to where you are, because people, especially going for executive, it's like, you got to do the work. That's really what it comes down to. Like Cindy was saying before, it's, you can't overthink it. You just got to do it. And just touch on that a little bit, just because I think sometimes people don't really understand, you got to be willing to put yourself out there and get vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. I have so many, honestly, the way I get people to say is we need to start your follow-up list right away. We want to grow that follow-up list, get people excited about growing their follow-up list, because if they're growing their follow-up list, that means they're getting no's. You literally can't grow your follow-up list unless they're saying no. So having those conversations with people, and if they say no, I say, oh my gosh, that's totally fine. Make sure you write them on your follow-up list, because now when we do our next challenge or there's something else going on with Isogenics, we can reach out to that person, and that might be a good time for them. And I always like to show people, I don't really think there's many people I've ever enrolled that said yes to me on the first time. Maybe like 3, and I've enrolled 550 something people, and maybe 3 people said yes on the first time. So I always show people their message. I say, I just want you to scroll back for a minute and look at how many times I followed up with you getting ghosted. Like my girl Megan, who's Start 1000, I followed up with her 13 times without even a response. I just don't even focus on the ones who don't respond. I have my follow-up list, and they ain't coming off until they die or I die. Simple. Or they tell me to go F myself, which doesn't happen often. But I will follow up with them and continue to follow up with them until they enroll or they don't. And honestly, I still have my follow-up list. I have about 12 pages double-sided of people, even back from 2015 when I started. And they are still getting messages from me. And I don't even care, because for me, the way I look at it is when someone messages me asking what I'm doing or looking for information, they're trusting me to follow up with them and to make sure they get started. When I think about me, there's been so many other brands or companies of stuff that I've purchased from my fellow network marketers. And then sometimes I ask about something, and then it's just not the right time. I just don't want to purchase it at that time. So I like to remind people of that. Not everyone wants to buy stuff right away. And also not everyone may feel comfortable to say, I can't afford it right now. Now is not the best time. I'm doing a lot. So it's easier for them to ignore you. It just is. So I make sure people are aware of that. And the follow-up, we just always say, the fortune is in the follow-up. This is good. You're growing your follow-up list. Now, when we do the next group challenge, you are way more likely to get and enroll from it because you have way more people to follow up with. So don't let it stress you out. I also make sure that everyone follows the leader in action formula. Like that was the thing since January 2019, that same thing. That's the first time I started following the leader in action formula. Who was it that trained? Was it you that trained on it, Cindy, at that event? Yeah, someone trained on it there, and I'm like, I never did that. I should start doing that. And so that was a big help. But honestly, I just make sure that everyone knows the more conversations you have, the more people you are likely to enroll. I just explained that I've enrolled a lot of people, and no one enrolls really on the first conversation, and that's okay to keep going. And people see that I have a lot of conversations, and then we have like our Facebook groups where we can add everyone in and hype each other up, even our prospects. So some people are ghosting in art. Yeah, exactly. So don't let it stress you out. You got to just keep going, right? Like that's just the name of the game. People are going to ghost you. That's totally fine. I just say, is that like, stop making it about yourself. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them at this time. And also Michael Klaus has a really, really good podcast too. And he goes over a lot of questions to ask people. And I love doing questions. What's holding you back right now? That's my main one. I'm just going to think about it. You need to be bold. The reason I get a lot of enrolls is because I am extremely, extremely bold. What's holding you back? Why are you not are you ready to get started right now? This is the information I need for the pack you were interested in. Just be bold about it. What packs do you enroll? Premium is probably the most, which in Canada, it's a little bit more money for the premium and value. So premium is usually the most, but I always go over good, better, best. Matt doesn't even really talk about the packs as much, but he could recite basic, premium, value by heart, because about 20 times a day, probably, I'm sending voice notes about the basic, premium, and value. And some people did recommend to pre-record them and just forward them to people. For me, I make it super, super specific to them. So say someone shares with me, okay, I have a goal this summer. I want to feel so good on the bikini, in my bikini on the beach, and I want to lose 10 pounds. And you ask what's holding them back from that, and they're snacking a lot at night. When I talk about the Whey Thins and the isolites, I'm referring it back to them saying that they like to snack a lot. So when you ask, okay, you like to snack on chips a lot, These Whey Thins are incredible. Instead of grabbing that bag of salty chips, grab a bag of Whey Thins. They're going to curb your appetite. They have protein. It's going to boost your metabolism. You're going to feel so good. Isolates, I love these for snacks. I'll melt 2, dip some apples in it. It's so good. You need to speak passion when talking about the products. Like every single product, when I mention it to someone, I'm like, you need this because, you need this because, you need this. Like there's not one product in that entire line of value pack that I don't explain why. And when I talk about isogenesis, Botox in a bottle, like it is amazing. You need to speak highly of everything so that they think by the time they get to value, holy shit, I need that value pack because I need that Botox in a bottle. I need this product because they're not going to want to go without those products when you're just completely explaining the enthusiasm. So I get like more excited as I go from basic to premium to value.
That's awesome. All right, and I think to honor your time, I'm going to ask one more question, and we'll let you go and let the team go for the night. But talk to the people who might be a little bit discouraged now. So maybe they were working on the Crystal Executive Reset, didn't hit their goals. Maybe their business isn't where they hope it would be by now. Speak to those people and offer any encouragement that you can, because clearly you could have given up. When you lose someone that's a top leader on your team, that's a hard thing to get past. I've witnessed all of this myself. I've gone through it all, and I'm just not a quitter. I think Tiffany's on the call tonight, my girl who says, I'm not a quitter. I'm not a quitter. So share with everybody just some, parting words of inspiration, from your story on why they shouldn't give up.
For sure. Okay. So first thing, you need to be so clear with why you're doing this and where you want to go. Because if my why was not strong, I would have quit a million times. I couldn't even tell you the amount of times back when I started where I had a pretty bad mindset that I would text my sponsor that I quit, and then she'd ask for my referrals. And I was like, no way, actually, I want those people. And so I just got really, really, I did a lot of personal development. If you've seen where I was when I started versus where I am now, it's 2 different people. I really got clear with my goals, and I wrote them down every single week, every month, every quarter, every year. I set goals for myself for all of those time blocks. Every single Monday, anyone who I run with sends me their goals and their leader in action that they just filled out for the week. That is the most important thing. Never zero out on leader in action. Figure out your goals, make them attainable, and just keep trying to grow. Like if you look at your monthly cycles, try and grow that from whatever's comfortable for you. 5 cycles from the previous month. Look at the total, try and keep going from that. Because honestly, when I lost my top earner on my team and I just thought that my business went down so much, you guys, I had every reason to quit. I got another job offer from my old company who somehow must have felt in their bones I was vulnerable at the time and reached out to me. And I knew that Isogenics is a vehicle to make my life exactly what I wanted. And you need to believe that in your bones. Then you need to find your people and run with them. If I did not have my people, I would not be able to do this business. Whether it's for a while, it was my upline because no one in my downline had a vision like me until I started to create those leaders and I link arms with them, be friends with them. You need to be a professional friend maker is what I call this, right? Professional friend maker, link arms, run with them, never ever give up. Because if you look at my business blueprint thing, it is like major ups and major downs. And that's just the name of the game. You just need to keep going. I went 3-star in 2 years. I was maintained 3-star for 2 more years. And then in the 2 months, earlier this year, I went from 3 to 5-star in 2 months. And that was just because I continued to build. You need to remember when you're building residual income, you need to maintain your people and bring more people in. If people are leaving your business as fast as they're coming in, and that was something that I had to really work on too, because I was a high enroller, but my retention was shit. Sorry. My retention was not good. So people were leaving as fast as they were coming in. And you just had to develop systems, create community. That's a huge thing. Show up for your team, create leaders, and just do not drag people. That is the worst thing you can do for your business.
Oh gosh, gold. This was just amazing. I think you fired absolutely everyone up. You've gotten me motivated. The one thing I do not like about my team calls is I have a hard time settling down after and going to bed. I end my call with Ionix tea and try to calm down, but I'm so fired up. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. You are beautiful inside and out. And I can't thank you enough for sharing with our team tonight. I'm glad we had a great turnout, and we'll have a lot more people watching the recording. But thank you so much. And we just can't wait to see where your business is next year.
Thank you for having me. 6-star by NYKO. Let's do it.
Let's do it, girl. I don't have any doubts you will be there.
Okay.